Almighty God, grant us the courage of Jesus Christ, your Son, to face the coronavirus pandemic with trust, strength, compassion, and resiliency. Give us the grace of the Holy Spirit to free us from fear and anxiety so we may do actions of help and support and look forward to our healing with hope. We pray for the health workers, food liners, maintenance cleaners, logistics abler, government leaders, and volunteers who continuously come together to deliver our daily needs to survive. Guide us from this time of crisis. Preserve us in peace. Protect the weak and vulnerable and those who serve the society during this pandemic. This we ask and pray in Jesus' name, our Savior. Amen. Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kantang tatak Pinoy. Kahit nasan ka man, kami ay mapapakinggan. Streaming worldwide, the future of radio in Manila, California, and Hong Kong. This is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Paborito ng bawat Pilipino, basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan, kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. We now bring you the program that brings together leading personalities, representative insights, all together in a meaningful and delightful conversations as your social barometer. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Hosted by breakthrough millennial boomer Gracie Venezuela. Only here on V81 Radio.
Hello once again, and welcome to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie. Well, today marks day 50 of our ECQ. I know for many of you there, it hasn't been easy, and we all have been trying to make the best out of our new lives, our new normal of living in quarantine in the time of COVID-19 pandemic. Now, for a lot of people, the biggest problem when the whole quarantine started was what's going to happen to our the food that we need, because all the stores were closed. Only the and we had to line up for our basic needs, our food needs in the supermarkets. And of course, it was very difficult for a lot of people to go around and go to the different supermarkets or shops where they would buy their favorites. Imagine prior to March, thinking about hopping into your car and going to your nearest restaurant or drive through fast food was just, you don't even think about it. You just do it. It was the easiest thing to do. But come March, the whole idea of eating out and going to your favorite fast food or even ordering for delivery became a problem because all the establishments were closed and all the supermarkets were open only during a certain window during the day. And in fact, for some segments of the population, like the seniors, they couldn't even go out because they were strictly instructed to stay home because of the threat of COVID-19. And given that, a lot of people had to turn to something to find comfort. Some of them, of course, we were all glued to the TV sets, looking at the news 24/7, and it's very stressful. But we find a way. We find a way to give our lives some comfort. And of course, the number one thing is, aside, of course, from prayer, because everybody started to pray, even those that didn't really, weren't really into prayer. We all had to pray for something, some miracle, or some way that we would get through this. And the second thing that people looked at to find comfort is food. So when I was thinking about what to feature for this particular episode, I was thinking food might be just the thing, because 50 days into the ECQ, I think that some of you have already developed a routine, and perhaps let's take a closer look at the thing that gave a lot of us comfort during these 50 days of quarantine, which is food. And today I am so proud to introduce the featured celebrity, the featured authority on food. She has been a very good friend of mine for a long time, since we were in college, and we have seen her transition from being a student achiever. She was even teaching in our university at the time, and her first foray into business was into fashion. And of course, we were young. We were, it was a dynamic time of our lives, and we were just so delighted to see how she would maneuver herself into the glamorous world of fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Vicky Veloso-Barrera.
Hi. Hi, Gracie.
Hi. Hello, Vicky. I'm so happy you could share your Sunday with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, we have friends from everywhere here in Manila and even in the US who are watching. So to all our friends in the US, hello, big hello from Vicky and myself. And so I was telling our audience that we have quite a history. Our friendship has gone through so many years. Yes. And of course, I was telling them that your first foray into business was into fashion. And I guess it was really timely because it was such a dynamic time to be in fashion during the 80s, right?
Yes. quite, yeah.
And
Um,
then you've always also been interested in literature, in
yeah,
reading, writing, because even as a high school girl, you would, you'd have writing projects.
yes. Actually, the food and the writing, they really go hand in hand because, in fact, my very first childhood memories of being in the kitchen, I remember myself as a toddler sitting in a high chair because my mom, Malu Veloso, was not into bridal gowns then. Her first line of work was making wedding cakes. Imagine being a
Oh,
toddler sitting in a high chair and your mom is making all those sugar roses. It was so
okay.
fascinating. I wanted to cook right there and then. But of course, she didn't let me because she said I was too young and I had to wait. And then later on, she did get into fashion. She became a fashion designer and became even more busy. And
Yes.
then my father took pity on me, and when I was 7 years old, he bought me my first Betty Crocker cookbook for boys and girls. So I basically taught myself to cook out of a cookbook, and since that time, I never stopped. So I always had that fascination for cooking because of my mom. And then
I It's a,
since I
it's a revelation because I always thought that since your Lola Marina was into wedding gowns and I knew
yeah,
your mom was also into fashion, I didn't realize she was also into
no, they're
cooking and
all into food. They're all into food. My
wow.
Lola, her sisters, my mom, her brothers, and then so there. And then since I love to read, so aside from devouring everything in the library, our home library, and the school library. I read my mom and my grandmother's cookbooks as if they were novels. I read them like cover to cover. So when I was
Fantastic. So
yeah, I was
go
still
ahead.
so young, and I already have had like ambitions. Like when I was 11 years old, I was already dreaming of like making my own puff pastry. I wanted to try. Those were my goals. And then when my mom was pregnant with my youngest brother, Bootsy, I was 11 then, and we contracted German measles. So we had to live in my grandmother's house, and my mother was giving cooking classes at the time that summer. When we were able to come back, I continued some of her cooking classes for her. That's why at the age of 11, I already knew about giving cooking classes.
Wow. And those early years in your mom's kitchen and also being surrounded in a fantastic environment of great cooks and great fashion and so inspiring and really it looked like your passions were already like being formulated, reading and writing, cooking, and teaching. So, like now that you have all these three passions combined into one fantastic project called Tiny Kitchen, I really think that it's like such a natural progression from all those years, and then with your own cooking school now called Tiny
Yeah,
Kitchen, it's
yeah,
like all
everybody.
roads led to that part of your life.
Yes, even if I took literature as my major in college, because the writing is still my number one love. I took an elective called child psychology, and we learned back then that it would be very ideal for at least one parent to stay with the children until they're age 6. In fact, that's already been revised now, and I know that it's ideal for, if possible, to have one parent there full time until their age 12. And that's stuck in my mind. And I
Wow.
said, one day when I get married, I want to work completely at home. And
Yes.
I want to work from home. And so when I got married, the first thing that I thought of was to put up a cooking school for children because I was already writing. I'd already published books, but I knew that from my writing for newspapers and magazines and book royalties that I'd never be able to. I wouldn't be able to make a living out of it. So that's
Yeah.
why the Tiny Kitchen started 22 years ago when I got married, and my children grew up in this environment, and I work fully from home. So actually, this situation right now, working from home, it's not abnormal for me. It is my normal.
It is
To
your normal.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
and it's a great. It's like now everybody's trying to adjust to work from
Mhm.
home,
Yeah.
And it has posed a lot of challenges, especially for moms or married people, because having to work in a house full of children of different ages is difficult if you are not used to working from home.
Yeah.
And given the crisis that we're all facing right now, all the more preparing home cooked meals is very important because, like I
Yeah.
said earlier, you just can't call for delivery or hop into your car and go to a restaurant.
Yes.
So it's now a challenge, especially if you're not a seasoned cook or you're just starting to cook, right? It
Yeah.
can be a challenge.
Yeah.
Now, for your teaching, your when you started to teach, you already had kids, right? The three of them were already around.
I started the summer before. I started my school right after I got married. So the school was
Okay.
already running for a year before my son was born. But it wasn't. When I started, I had like 9 students the first year. Then the
Yes.
following year, I had like 12. And then the following year, it became 20. And then it grew by word of mouth. It grew slowly. And then after
Yes.
5 years, they were 50. And I said, okay, okay.
Wow.
I'm gonna register already my business, no, and get my
Yes.
my proper business permits and all. And
Of course.
now I see, well, except for this particular summer, I normally see like 200 to 300 kids a year in the
That's a
summer.
lot.
Yeah, in the summer, but we also have classes the whole year
Yes.
because there are homeschool children that come the rest of the year, or kids that come on Saturdays, or preschoolers. So we have students the whole year.
Yeah, it's great because cooking, like, is a basic life skill.
Yeah, it's a life skill.
The younger you start learning how to cook, and both boys and girls must learn how to cook,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
what's the ratio? You do your kids, your students. Do you have a lot of boys also, or just
No,
mostly?
no, yes. They used when we first started. I had like 30% boys and 70% girls, and then when the Master Chef phenomenon
Wow.
started, then they were like 50-50. But for the last 3 to 4 years, the enrollment of the boys has been more than the girls, a bit more.
Wow.
They're like 55%, and it's really interesting because boys are not expected to know how to cook, right? So when a boy
Yes.
enrolls and then keeps coming back, he's really serious. I mean,
Yes.
he's there because he really wants to learn. So it's fun, and the things that they like to cook are different from the girls. So it's nice.
And that actually is it's consistent with the phenomenon that there are more male chefs than female chefs.
Yeah,
So
because
professionally, there are
yeah,
you see more professional males as chefs in
yes,
the
because
commercial
actually
kitchen.
it's quite a tough job physically to work in a
Yes.
commercial kitchen or a restaurant. It really is a tough job. So really, that's also why there are a lot more men there. But like I always tell my students, I said, even if you don't want to become a chef one day, I mean, you have to learn how to cook, because if you don't know how to cook, someone's gonna have to cook for you, or you're gonna have to buy your food, or so
True.
it's practical. And my goal is for them to see it as something fun. So
Yes.
that's why my style of teaching is hands-on. It's completely individualized. There's no watching me do things. No, they each get their own individual workspaces. They do everything from beginning to end. And I do not teach simplified things for children. I teach them as I would a grown-up. So there's no kiddie recipes. No, it's like if they're making yeast
Yes.
dough, the real thing. They're doing pie crust.
So the tiny kitchen philosophy is very hands-on,
Yeah.
and the girls and the boys are, they go through the whole 9 yards of preparing a particular recipe. Each
Mhm.
student station to work,
Yeah.
and everything from knife skills, they cut everything, they measured, and they cook.
Yeah.
Nothing
Well, the
more
knife
for them.
skills, when they're still young, we let them practice first, like with knives that are not sharp, just to let them get used to doing that, because we don't let them handle sharp knives until like they're a bit older.
Of
because
course, yes.
safety is the most important thing. So we don't let them do anything stovetop until I feel that they're old and mature enough. And even when they are old and mature enough, no one is forced to do like frying. And a lot of kids opt na nga even to not fry and instead to roast or steam foods like chicken because it's also healthier. This
Yeah,
generation now, they're
of
very
course.
health conscious. They read the labels.
Really?
They eat things that like uh, for us. I mean, they're more into salads now, whereas maybe 10 years ago, my students wouldn't touch that. And they're substituting, quinoa and adlai for rice in their houses. So it's
So the kids are very the consciousness as far as nutritious eating
yeah, yeah.
and the variety of food ingredients has broadened.
Yes. Of course, there's still, their favorites. You can't get
Yes.
away from that. And I like to indulge them as much as I can because I always tell the parents, I'm not my job as a teacher, I think, is to teach them to love cooking and see it as a joy and not a chore. So I'm not gonna force them
Yes.
to eat all like purely healthy food. I want them to eat food that they like. So they eat pizzas and pastas and apple pie and cookies and unicorn cupcakes and all these things that children love. So that's what they do.
Yeah, so cooking, since it's a life skill, it's something that should be enjoyed. It's
Yeah,
something that the kids should appreciate as part of daily living.
yeah,
Not something that you relegate to your cook or your yaya or your helper, right? It's
yeah.
important they become proactive in the kitchen.
Yeah. No, and it's a nice break, whatever your work is like. For me, when I'm not teaching, I work on my books. And then
Yes.
after a while, you want the break, so I go to the kitchen and then I'll cook. So it's a nice break. It's a nice hobby. And then nowadays, of course, most people have a lot of time. So if they're not
Yeah.
experienced cooks, this is the time to learn. And those who are experienced now have the chance to do the things that they normally would not have the time to do in the
True.
weeks that have passed, the shopping situation has also improved. And
Yes.
aside from, I noticed like lately in the restaurants, it's like getting better stocked, and also there are so many suppliers now. There are so many individuals that deliver all sorts of things from baking needs to seafood to vegetables. So it's getting better. So there's a lot
Yes.
of things that they can experiment with. So that's
So actually, the scenario for shopping, the first few weeks of the lockdown, since everybody was caught and was shocked with the situation, and all the stores had to be closed, there was a bit of a problem as far as stocking and finding the right ingredients. But right now, I think that
improved.
communities have like people are resourceful, and like even in my community there's now a weekly vegetable market they set up in our park, which is similar to the green market in Salcedo or in
Yeah,
Legazpi. And
yeah.
there's a group of farmers that are one of our resourceful people here in the community have contacted from Benguet. So we
Mhm.
now have an organic market on a weekend, and I think that's being echoed in a lot of communities in Metro
Yeah,
Manila.
yeah. And because you've got, not aside from the supermarkets, you've also got the wet markets, and then
Yes.
there are Korean groceries, there are delicatessens, no?
Yeah.
There are organic stores in our area, proudly green on Mother Ignacia. It's still open and you have options,
Yes.
so
Yes.
you're not
There's
so
a
you're not
lot.
so limited.
There's that's a good word, options, because I think what's important now is that we're not just limited to whatever canned goods or relief goods that are out there. In a situation like what we're facing after the initial, 50 days into the ECQ, we've sort of developed our new normal. And of course, we are now, not to say that we're relaxed, but we've adjusted quite well. Even me and my household, we've adjusted quite well, and even here in the community. And you're right, there's a lot of time. So if on our hands, so instead of being bored or watching Netflix all day, or you know, staying stuck to the news with all the bad news that you hear, it's great that you refocus your energies and take a look at, okay, what if I learn a new recipe or try out something different for your family's dinner this weekend? And certainly there's no lack of time now in our hands because everybody's home. So I'm gonna revisit all of that later. But before we proceed, I just want to take a quick look at the books in your Tiny Kitchen series. So I know that the first book that you wrote was the kiddie cookbook was Tiny Kitchen, and we're showing the logo right now. That's the Tiny Kitchen. And then you have the Not Too Tiny Kitchen, right? So that was part two. These two cookbooks, what's the basic premise there? What are the
I
range?
I wanted to do for kids what that Betty Crocker cookbook, when I was 7 years old, did for. I wanted a cookbook where they could cook without me. So that's why it's all step by step with drawings, illustrations, which I did, and it's all step by step. And then it has pictures of my first batch of students. So when students opened it and they saw the pictures of the kids inside, they said, "Oh, she could do that. I mean, I could do that. I can do that." So this was very popular. So see, from the start, we had boys. So that's what started not so Tiny Kitchen.
Not so Tiny Kitchen is more of the same. And you're talking to the kiddie market, right? Easy recipes that children can easily prepare in their homes. Now, after that, there's a nice cookbook about edible gifts. Is that it?
Edible gifts, and it came out it came out like in two editions. So edible gifts, so these are things that you can bake to give as gifts, and there are also things that you can make to sell. So they come with packaging suggestions. There's even a list of suppliers for ingredients, wholesale packaging. In the book, there's even I even explain about costing, how to cost ingredients. And
that's very interesting. Those
we have a
very interesting. Yes, because a lot of people now are preparing stuff in their kitchen to sell to their neighbors.
No, and kids, because a lot of I don't have to tell my students to sell what they make. They're the ones that start selling on their own. So, and some kids really ask me to teach them, those that have been coming for a long time, ask me to teach them things specifically to sell. So that's why I have a course called Tiny Kitchen Entrepreneur. So it's just focusing on things that they can sell, desserts and main dishes, sauces, etc.
Amazing. That's great. And then you came out with the cookbook for the newlywed, which is Cooking for Two. Okay, can you tell me a little bit about that, Cooking for Two?
This is like a food diary of what me and my husband ate the 6 months of our marriage, because even if he likes something that I make, he doesn't want to see it again for a long time. So I had to learn how to portion the food that it would make exactly 2 servings, so there are no leftovers. And that it's not just as simple as chopping a recipe in half, especially you really have to test it. So like I said, it's like a food diary of what we ate for the first 6 months, and it's been reprinted so many times in hardcover version, so it could be given as a wedding gift, in soft cover version for young couples, single people, empty nesters, so it's quite
those are amazing books, because it's so important to have the right references at home, because you never know, there are dining occasions when you can easily remember an heirloom recipe, for instance, that your mom passed down or your lola passed down. But if you want to innovate and you want to have something different, or something exciting like for a change, and especially now people are so adventurous in the kitchen. Those two cookbooks are great for newlyweds or even condo dwellers. So that portioning, cooking for one or two people could be a challenge because
Yes, it is.
portioning is important and buying just the right ingredients for a recipe, right?
And if you buy an imported cooking for two, it's not the food that we Pinoys eat.
Yes.
So it has to have like rice dishes. It has to have like your Pinoy comfort food favorite. So it's all there. It was designed that everything could be done in I forget if it's 30 or 40 minutes or less. So there are even
Yeah.
other like before you leave for work, defrost na your meat in the ref so that by the time you get home, it's like ready to go, and it's all there. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I am I am
That's
I am
great.
I am a big fan of preparing things ahead of time. So this one, a worldwide feast, which is an entertaining cookbook. So it's menus from all over the world, including Filipino menus, and
Yeah.
it comes with like a section that tells you, like for this menu, what can you do 5 days ahead? What can you do 3 days ahead? 2 days ahead? What can you do the morning of the? So the whole point is so that when people come over, you're not slaving away in the kitchen. Everything that you could have done in advance is done in advance. I even advise, I said, better to have serve the food buffet style, have already a drink station, set up a bar where people can help themselves, stuff like that. So that
Yes, actually, that's interesting. I'm in the events business, and planning the food flow and how the buffet should be set up, and the way you are going to serve your beverages, your cocktails, your hors d'oeuvres, your main dish. There's method to that.
yeah,
I think that when you
protocol.
create a party, when you plan for a party, there must be a method as well. Because you're right, as the hostess, you'll be slaving away in the kitchen and you won't enjoy
Yeah, no,
your
you don't want to do
party.
that. Yeah, yeah.
You don't
So
want that, right?
no, my late father-in-law, Ambassador Sergio Barrera, he was really, I mean, he was protocol officer also to President Cory. When he was still alive, most Saturdays, he and my mother-in-law and their friends would have dinner here in my house. So I'm quite
Wow.
used to entertaining, even from before pa naman, di ba? When
Yeah.
from way back,
You've always been a
entertaining.
fantastic hostess. And I remember in our youth, we had such fantastic parties. And I remember that there were some signature recipes that up to this day, whenever I visit your mom and Let in the
Samora.
town, they're there, and it's like going back to those days when I taste your tapenade and your mom's favorite
Red
dessert.
mustard chicken. Yeah.
Yeah, and her
Red mustard
chicken.
chicken, that's my recipe.
Yeah, that's so I love those recipes, and I think once a year when I go there, like during the holiday season, that's what Let prepares, and it's a great reunion. It's we always talk over. A lunch would slide to merienda because like we just don't wanna just reminiscing and talking about that, and really food occasion, an event with great food creates fantastic memories.
Yeah,
So that
I come from a family of party givers. My mom likes entertaining. My grandmother loved entertaining, and
yeah.
I was actually living with her until right before I got married. I was. She asked me to live with her for a while, so I did, and she was telling me all the time, "You saw my place have parties here. You saw
Yes,
my
it's a beautiful house,
yeah."
and it's been marked as since it's the home
It's
of
an important,
art.
cultural
What is that
property.
marker that the
Yeah.
government plays?
Yes, it's an important cultural property, so it has value, and it is to be preserved and defended even by the government if there was like a war or something. So
Oh wow!
yeah, because that's designed by my late grandfather, national artist Pablo Antonio. And
Yes.
it's really a very good example of tropical architecture that works, in this country that gets it's actually getting hotter and more humid, I think, with every
But it's great. It's always cool.
yes, yeah,
That house and even your house in Protasio, that architecture is always so fantastically cool
yeah,
inside,
yeah.
And
I
I
some-
remember there were, yeah, go ahead.
I sometimes give classes for adults in Zamora, the early part of the
Okay.
year. Yeah, before my summer classes start. This year I didn't have time, but sometimes I have classes also there for adults when I'm not busy with the summer classes.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. When this lockdown is over, I'm sure that a lot of people will want to visit that house, and I you can book that house for
Yeah,
gatherings, right? I
yeah,
mean,
you
you're
can book it for
so
events.
creative and so entrepreneurial. She's my idol.
Yeah, yeah,
Tita
and
Marie
then
is my
my mom
idol.
and my sisters, they've got their fashion, their fashion display there. So you can, yeah, and then you can book meals there. My son has an art exhibit. He has an exhibit of his
Oh,
artwork there. So it's a house that's living, and
yes.
so
And
much
how
to
many generations of Antonios already from your
from all four.
grandfather?
Yeah, my
So that's what,
grandfather.
4 generations?
Yeah, yeah. My kids are
Great.
the fifth generation now.
Yeah. Now, finally, there is a special coffee table book that is really interesting, and it's called Kape, a
Ah,
Philippine coffee cookbook. Can you tell
yeah.
us a little bit about that?
It's not a coffee table book. It's a book about coffee.
Oh,
It's
okay.
covered with Chit Juan. So the first part of that cookbook is all about Philippine coffee. She does that part, no? Philippine coffee, and then how to brew coffee properly and even without any special equipment. And the second half is what to serve with coffee. So it's everything from yeast breads to cakes, cookies, Filipino specialties. So that's the combination, and that won the National Book Award in the leisure category in 2003. So that
Wow.
year, that year for the National Book Award, there were only two cookbooks nominated: Worldwide Feast, which is mine, and then Kape, which is
Yes.
also mine. So,
Bravo, Vicky. I am just so proud of your literary accomplishments.
yeah,
And like I said earlier, it's so unique that you were, for a person to put all three of her passions together in one great passion project under the Tiny Kitchen brand. And I
yeah,
do know that the future looks very exciting for Tiny
yeah,
Kitchen. Now, ladies and gentlemen out there, I know that you're excited to see what we have in store for you today, because in our next segment, we're going to show some videos of some fantastic comfort food guaranteed to make you smile. So don't go away. We're going to go on a quick break. This is Tita Gracie, and this is Let's Chat with Tita Gracie.
We'll be back shortly with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio. Technology allows us to explore a variety of opportunities. So why not grab one for you? Kickstart your online business with Big Benta. Create an account, visit our store builder, then make your online shop. Be visible, gain customers, and run your business hassle-free. Plus, enjoy the support of our local merchandising team to maximize our platform. Make technology work for you with Big Benta, Pinoy e-commerce site made for you. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local. Para enjoy ang pakikinig sa V81 Radio kahit saan, we are now on your Amazon Echo devices. Just say, Alexa, play V81 Radio at i-enjoy ang inyong mga paboritong Pinoy music 24/7. Sabihin lang, Alexa, play V81 Radio. May items ka na gustong ibenta? Or planning to buy something specific? Visit PinoyAds.ph, a free online classified ads na available to all. Post an ad, para sa item na you want to sell. Or browse through the listing to find out what you're looking for. Connect with the community to explore, discover, buy and sell. Be the boss of every transaction sa PinoyAds.ph. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local. Kabayan, naho-homesick ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Tunog Pinoy, Tatak Pinoy, the future of radio. This is your all-hits, all-Pinoy internet radio station. This is V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan.
Now back to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio.
And we're back to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, and we have a very special guest tonight. Her name is Vicky Veloso-Barrerera, and she is a well-known culinary authority, and she's everybody's favorite cooking instructor. Vicky, I'm so glad that you joined us today because we were chatting yesterday about comfort food, and it's what really gives comfort to a lot of people now. They open their fridge when they're stressed, when they watch too much news, and what are your thoughts on preparing comfort food?
And I when I read the posts and messages of my friends from Facebook or the different chat groups, I can feel really the anxiety that people have about the future, because nobody knows really exactly when this is going to be over. So if you can, for me, if you can put some joy into like your family's day, like for me now, I have to cook 2 full meals a day instead of 1, because they're here the whole time. And I really look forward to planning things that I think, they're going to enjoy. I like trying out new things now that there's time, and indulging them in treats that, as I said, I hope will put a smile on their face, just make them happy for a little while. Yes, we want to eat healthy, which is why actually my focus meal wise is really on fresh produce. No, when all of us were starting to panic buy, I was still focused more on getting as much fresh produce as I could, and the canned goods that I do buy consist mostly of like canned vegetables, like canned tomatoes, which you for your tomato process. So really, I do of course have my family's health in mind, but I also have their your emotional health in mind. And so if you can cook little things that make them happy, make them smile, then then it really lifts everyone's day.
Right. One of the things that I thought about when I was planning this entire show, because my first episode was during Easter Sunday. When I was thinking about what my vision is for the show, one of the things is that I always want to put forth every week is to make people feel good because of the environment that everybody's experiencing everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
The environment of fear and insecurity. It's as if nothing is certain in this world. But I think the one thing that I felt is important is people are safe at home, not stuck at
Mhm.
home.
Yeah.
And being in your home, safe with your entire family is a blessing.
Yes. Very much so.
It's a tremendous blessing. And we have to inspire the family as women, as mothers, as homemakers. We have to make that extra effort to inspire, especially the young kids, because they're the most sensitive to stuff like this, to trauma and
Mhm.
to negative issues in the
Yep.
news and
Yep.
out there, and the fear. And actually, our generation, this is the second time that we've experienced curfew. I never thought I'd experience martial law like curfew, but now in this time of my life, it's like, oh boy, I never imagined that I would be living in quarantine with a curfew, and I cannot even go out because I'm already a senior. And to me, it's like, if it hits me in a bad way or in a negative way, I should not allow it to erode my sense of security.
Yeah.
And I must put it upon myself as a broadcaster and as a responsible communicator to provide hope that,
Mhm.
we we are homemakers, all of us now. Everybody, homemaking is not just a mom's duty, but it's the duty of everybody, because you're a part of that home. It should not just be the mom, right?
And even if you're as the mom, you do most of it now, and they don't do so much, you're still setting the example that they're going to follow one day. So
Yes.
it's still okay. Actually, my kids are still busy because I mean, with school, they're still submitting requirements. They're not exactly not doing anything. So they're but seeing what you do, what I do, that's also showing them. Like showing them for the future. It's like my mom letting me go with her to the wet market, to Cartimar before with her when I was really small. So now
Oh,
I
I
have
love Cartimar.
yeah, I love the wet. I love the palengke. I'm
Yeah,
really
I love Cartimar, and I go to I love going to the vegetable section.
yeah, you're still setting an example. And my son just turned 21 the other day, and he had plans for his birthday. We didn't know that this was going to drag out this far. And I just wrote on his timeline. I said, this lockdown, it can keep you here physically, but it cannot keep your dreams, your imagination, your the things that you're hoping for. Those it doesn't restrain that. Those,
Absolutely.
those are all the things that we were planning to do, but they're just postponed.
Yes.
They're not never going to happen. And
True.
yeah, just a few months ago, I was in St. Jude because I sell my children's books by going directly to the schools, no? So I give talks and storytelling there. And I was telling because I was promoting this book three of my rabbit series. And this book three deals like with sadness. It's like a book about how to find joy, in sad times, because that's what the story is about. And so when I was talking to the kids there, I noticed that the point where they were really glued, to me, all these grade school kids, was when I told them, I said, there will always be problems in life, right? You will always have a problem.
Yes.
You can't understand this homework. There's this problem in your house. Someone in your family is sick. When is this going to end? And I told them, I can promise you this. I can promise you this. It will end one day. And
Right.
it might, I don't know when that day is going to be, if it's soon or a long time from now, but it is going to end just the way day always follows the night, and they were really paying attention.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
You know, Vicky,
good.
those are really wise words.
Mhm.
This too shall pass. This
Yeah,
pandemic will
yes,
pass.
yes, and
And I think the way we nurture our home lives will really be important to the next generation, to our children, our nieces and nephews, even to our other housemates, because like I always believe that when you establish a home, you should make it as comfortable and as relaxed, and surround yourself with the things that give you joy. And I'm going to lead into something that gives a lot of people joy, and that's a great cookie. And everybody's favorite cookie is the Oreo
yeah.
cookie. And I know that the first video you prepared for us is about the Oreo cookie. So give us a bit of teaser before I introduce the video.
Oh, this one is this is a cookie dish that you don't even have to buy. But when they sell this treat, at the DLSU fairs, there's always a long queue. So I said, I have to do this. I have to teach this to my students because it's just too fun and it's too easy. I mean, 5 minutes and you've got this really nice treat that is really sure to put a smile on someone's face.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the first video that we're going to show right now features our favorite Oreo cookie. So, let's roll that video, please.
Hi, I'm Vicky Veloso-Barrera of Tiny Kitchen, and I'm going to be showing you something that your kids and you yourselves will surely love. This is a recipe for deep fried Oreos, and it's really simple. We just need a little bit of flour. So this is 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and we need 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon and a half of sugar, a little bit of salt, just 1/4 teaspoon, and then we just whisk this. Now, if you don't have flour or if you don't have some of these other ingredients, you can use a pancake mix. A pancake or a waffle mix will do just fine. Just follow the instructions. And then now we're going to add the wet ingredients to our dry. So our wet ingredients are a half cup of milk, 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. You can also use melted butter or margarine, and 1 egg. So we're just going to whisk this together. Now, what's nice about this recipe is that this is actually my recipe for the batter for waffles. And it can also be used as the batter for pancakes. So I'm a big fan of things that can be used for many purposes. So as I said, this can be used for waffles, it can be used for pancakes, and we're using it now for Oreo. Now, if you think the batter's a little bit too thick, you can just thin it out with a little bit of milk or water. Actually, if you thin it out even to the point when it's very thin, you could even use it for crepes. Okay, so I've got vegetable oil heated up here, and I've got my Oreos. So I'm just going to dip them in the batter and drop them into the hot oil. This is very fast. Here, so just dip it in. Okay, and then just flip that. See, it's already these two. This is already done. Okay, so let me just take this off the heat for a short while. Okay, and then all you have to do is just sprinkle a little powdered sugar on top. Oh, they're still hot. So my powdered sugar is melting, but that's okay. Makes it just a little bit more sweet. See, and here we have our deep fried Oreo ready to eat. Now, if you want a variation on this, to the same batter, we're just going to add a little bit of cocoa. You don't have cocoa in your house, you can use any powdered chocolate drink like Milo, you can use that instead. So I'm adding a tablespoon of cocoa and a little bit of red food coloring. Okay, why do I have a red velvet version of this? Well, you know, in the world of tiny kitchen, kids love anything that is red velvet or unicorn or rainbow colored and flavored. They really just love that. So, okay, we can add just a little bit more of the red. Okay, I think actually we need to put just a little bit more of red food coloring to bring out that reddish tint. Kids love things that have that reddish tint. Okay, so just a bit more red food coloring. Try not to get it on your fingers because this really stains. Okay, so there, much better. Much better. So you can make it as dark or as lightly red as you or your kids like. Okay, now this is ready. Let me put the oil back. Let me put the saucepan back on top of the burner and let's get out any burnt pieces. Okay, so again, we're just going to coat the Oreos with the batter and drop them in. You can drop any kind of cookie, not just Oreos. So you can be creative with whatever you have in your house, and it cooks very quickly. If you're not going to use all the batter right away, you can even store it in the ref for the day. So you can cook these things on demand. Here, so they've kept their reddish tint despite becoming golden brown in the oil. So we'll just fish these out. Okay, let them drain on paper towels. And then I've got my powdered sugar again ready here. So we just sift the powdered sugar on top. That's the finishing touch. And there you have it. Our red velvet deep fried Oreo. Enjoy.
Tomorrow, everyone's gonna go to the supermarket, Vicky, to buy Oreos. So if you're in the
Anything.
supermarkets, better stock up on Oreo cookies tomorrow.
Actually, the guy that we used to buy that from in LaSalle, he would also fry fruit, chunks of watermelon. So you just have that nice crispy batter. So you can be creative and you can cook anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, aside from the Oreo, are there other cookies that you can use?
Yeah, anything that you have in your house, you've got butter cookies there. Anything that you can coat with batter, you can fry. Yeah, my husband says that it's a little bit like churros.
Yeah, churros actually. Well, churros are so easy because it's really just flour and
Water and
water.
flour.
Yeah, and no, but certainly, when it comes to like stocking up your kitchen with quick bites to eat, like everybody's into watching their favorite Netflix or whatever, and so having a good cookie or a bunch of different kinds of cookies is easy because you can just buy them, but preparing them and stepping up is easy because the recipe showed that batter recipe is good for 5 different recipes. I noted it's a basic pancake recipe.
Basic
You
waffle.
waffles. If you put more water, you can be more
It can
crepe.
be
You
a
can make a
crepe.
crepe and you can fill it up with fruit or like a simple banana and Nutella crepe. That's which is my favorite. And then of course, you've got the 2 variants of your Oreo cookie. So basic and red velvet. And if you don't want it red, you can just make it chocolate, right? Because you said you can put any chocolate drink. So that's
Yes.
6 recipes in
Yep.
one basic,
Mhm.
not even, it doesn't even take 20 minutes to put that
Yeah,
batter.
no, it took like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and if you have those basic items in your kitchen, uh, basic pantry stuffers,
Mm-hmm.
I instead of buying like a prepared hot cake mix, you're better off in with just getting a good flour, no,
Mm-hmm.
flour and some eggs. You've got to have them all the time. Flour, eggs, baking powder is very important
Yeah,
also
you're
because
definitely, yeah. Baking powder,
yeah,
baking soda,
and
salt.
baking soda.
Yeah.
And then,
You,
like some iodized salt and some basic ingredients. Because I noticed you use fine confectioner sugar to
mm-hmm.
dust the
Yeah,
cookie out.
yeah. You need that
Right?
for
If you don't
icing.
have that, can they just use like a regular granulated sugar?
It's not the same. You don't have that
Yeah.
powdery.
So
You
it's
don't have
good to
that
have
powdery.
uh, a box of confectioner sugar to dust.
Yes, which many supermarkets carry already. And then,
Yes.
like for the first few weeks of the lockdown, it was very hard to find flour. And that wasn't my problem because actually, the day the lockdown started, March 15, that was a Sunday. The next day, March 16, was when my classes were supposed to start. So we had fully stocked Tiny Kitchen for like
Wow.
7 weeks of classes. So I had flour, but if you were nowadays, I mean, like you can already find in your area, I'm sure, people that will deliver flour and other baking ingredients.
Wow,
So
that's true.
yeah, you check. You just need to check. Here where I stay in Scout Tobias, Quezon City, my daughter has a classmate in New Manila that is selling all kinds of baking ingredients. So I'm sure in other parts of the metro there are people doing that too. So just because you go to the grocery and there's no flour there doesn't mean you can't bake. There are
Yes, yes.
options now.
Yeah, because some people they have become very resourceful now, and they make the extra effort to supply homes with ingredients, fresh vegetables,
Mhm.
baking materials, and in fact, here in my area, in the Sucat Parañaque area, before the lockdown, I noticed that there are now at least 6 stores that sell baking
Mhm.
ingredients at wholesale prices because of the rise of home
Yeah.
cooks, women that sell cookies and banana bread and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And the stores are very well stocked because aside from ingredients, they also sell packaging.
Yeah. Yeah. And all
Yeah.
your
So
equipment.
yeah, all the basic equipment, and I think that you're right about getting the kids started early and finding out that because especially giving food as gifts, it's very welcome
Mhm.
during the holiday season. And I noticed that over the last few years, and they've become, it's not just anymore the usual, fruit cake or polvoron, but now all the range of cookies that I would get and pies, and people are getting very creative in their kitchens.
Yeah, no, it's good because then it saves you a lot of money for one thing. It saves
Yes.
you from queuing up in the stores. And then it's appreciated when they know that it's made by you. Now, food gifts at Christmas time, my only suggestion is, because this is what we used to do for the longest time, our Christmas gifts was always food, no? We like to give the gifts like at the very start of December or even like late November, because after that the flood of food gifts starts coming in. So the earlier you can give yours, the more likely it can be appreciated and remembered. Yeah.
Yes. And I just have a basic question. How do you test like the shelf life? Because I do know that if you make a batch of cookies, like chocolate crinkles or oatmeal cookies, they have a shelf life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
If
you
they're
do
not
you
made,
test that? Yeah, how do you test
yeah,
that?
they're not made if they're not made with preservatives, really they're just good for like a few days, because after that they'll start to get dry, and even if you store them in the ref, they'll also dry out. So actually the kind of food gifts that we would give would be either something moist so that it can last longer, because anything that has moisture tends to keep longer, or I give things like polvoron, which you can keep at room temperature. But our polvoron recipe is Oreo flavored, which we teach
Wow.
you. So it's really yummy. No?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
yum. Yeah, we
yeah.
also have a basic recipe for polvoron here in my house, and it's cookie based also. And Oreo is one of the flavors that we use. Now, since we're all on the topic of comfort food, another comfort food that everybody loves is pasta.
Mhm.
And there's so many different varieties of pasta available now. And the nice thing is, you can make a cold pasta or a hot or a warm pasta, right? A
Yeah.
pasta salad is great right now for the summer. In fact, that's what I have. I've been making cold pasta salad for myself. And of course, the ultimate comfort pasta food is something with a nice hearty sauce. But
Mhm.
this next recipe that you prepared for us, this video you prepared for us, features a very interesting local ingredient. Maybe you'd
Yeah,
like to,
which is also very comforting for a lot of
yeah,
Pinoys.
yeah. So this next video that Vicky has prepared for us features a favorite Pinoy food called tinapa with
Mhm.
angel hair pasta. So, ladies and gentlemen, please watch the next video.
I'm Vicky Veloso-Barrera and welcome to my Tiny Kitchen Cooking School. We're going to make a very quick and easy pasta today, and I'm going to use angel hair, which cooks very quickly. Boiling salted water here, this only takes like 2 minutes to cook. And while it's cooking, we'll get the sauce done. So this uses tinapa or smoked fish. We're using smoked bangus, smoked milkfish, and we're just going to sort of shred it. Something that I love doing. I like taking the meat off the bones and the skin of things because then you can feel very carefully to avoid like the sharp bones, no, all the tinik, and you can make sure that you get all the yummy pieces like the belly, which is healthy for you also. So you can use smoked bangus or smoked galunggong. I just buy this in the supermarket. You can also get this in the market. But if you buy this in the market, make sure you know the seller. Because a boyfriend of my mom who has fish stands once told her, never buy smoked fish from someone you don't know. Because that might be a dead fish that you just smoke. And then we have garlic here, which is already crushed. So in our free time, we like to crush a lot of heads of garlic and then just keep them in oil in the ref so that every time you want to cook, you've got your garlic ready. And then I have some green onions also, which I'm just going to cut with a scissor. So this is going to give flavor and a little bit of color to our pasta. So I have my garlic, my tinapa. Now I have this green onion. And we're also going to get the zest or the peel of a lemon because this goes very nicely with smoked fish. So just a little bit of this. And if you don't have a lemon, you can use dayap. If you don't have dayap, you can use calamansi. Or if you don't have any citrus on hand, you can just skip this, it's fine. And for the green onion, if you don't have green onion, you can use leeks. Actually, it's also just to put a little bit of color. So if you've got green bell pepper, red bell pepper, just cut them in small pieces. So it also just makes the pasta look more attractive. Okay, we should be almost done because this angel hair or capellini takes only 2 minutes to cook. So when you buy Italian pastas, the pack always says how long it's going to take. So this is a meal that as you can see, you can put on your table in like 5 minutes or less. So just want to make sure that it's al dente. Or you can cook it a bit longer if you like it soft. Okay, that can take just a little bit longer. In the meantime, I'll just get my sauce started. So we have olive oil here. Okay, so just adding some olive oil to the pan so it's nice and healthy. You can use pure olive oil, or you can even use pomace, which is cheaper. It's actually better than the extra virgin because when you have a lot of heat, it actually destroys the healthy properties in extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil should really be safe for like salad dressings, no? Or for eating raw. So put our garlic there. Okay, we'll let that cook just a little bit. Let me check if this is done now. And of course, the garlic already smells so good. It's done. See, so fast. So I'm just going to drain this. You can use, of course, any pasta that you have on hand. So cooking is just being able to make the most of whatever you have. Okay, so I'm just gonna add the tinapa, and it's already cooked, so just blending it with the olive oil. I'm going to add a little bit more because that's going to be our sauce. So you just need the garlic, the olive oil, the tinapa, and then the green onion and the lemon. This only needs pepper. Since the tinapa is already a bit salty, you don't need to put salt. So, that's done. Just put in my pasta. Just blend it together. You can even just turn off the heat already. You can do what the Italians do and use 2 spoons to help you combine the whole thing because it's sort of difficult to combine with just 1 spoon. You can also do this with smoked salmon or actually any kind of canned fish. You can do this also with tuna. So a very, very quick and easy pasta. But tinapa, especially tinabang bangus, has a very comforting flavor to it and something that is really nice. Very comforting to eat. So there we are. Just going to put it here in our serving plate. And that's it. Your pasta with tinapa.
Okay, that seems simple enough to do. And tinapa is something that a lot of people would be the last thing on their minds when they're thinking of doing a pasta, right?
But
And
that's really nice. Yeah, very popular.
Yeah.
Very popular in class. And as a twist, if you don't have pasta, just do the whole thing and combine it with rice. Tinapa fried rice. So
that's
good.
true.
Yeah.
And you said that if they don't have tinapa, you can use a salmon, smoked salmon. You can canned salmon, canned tuna. Now, it
fish.
seems like the whole Philippines is flooded with sardines. Can it work with sardines?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah.
So that's good news, no? If you're on a budget and you get your relief goods from your barangay and you have 2 or 3 cans of tuna and you don't
You can do a pasta.
usual, you can do a tuna pasta,
Yes.
sardines pasta.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it because it's so versatile. And if you don't have angel hair pasta, you use a basic spaghetti.
Any pasta. I only chose that one because it's fast.
It's fast. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I always have angel hair pasta and the basic spaghetti always in my house. So like if you don't have time, then angel hair pasta cooks fast.
Yeah.
Now, again, if we're building our basic pantry stuffers, I'm making a list since the show started. So flour, eggs, of course,
Yeah.
and then pasta is important to always have because it gives you the elbow room to innovate as far as the sauce goes, right? You made a basic olive oil, an oil-based sauce. And
Mm-hmm.
then of course, like the usual tomato-based sauce. But I think with the tinapa, I bet you a lot of people are gonna start their tinapa pastas at home.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice just like that, without the cream, without any tomato sauce, so that the flavor of the tinapang bangus really comes through.
Yes, really comes out. So, I like the idea that we can localize a pasta dish, a Filipino. Actually, Pinoys love to do that. We like to make
Mhm.
it like the spaghetti. We'll make it sweet with red hot dogs. Our
Mhm.
our hamburgers are not just like the way Americans make it with like a tremendous amount of beef, but we put all other ingredients
Yeah,
in our burger patty. And
yeah.
now with pasta, you're saying that we can use tinapa. What are the other local ingredients you think we can use in a pasta?
Or there's any any fresh whatever produce you can come across. So if you have like even just some tomatoes or um even the if you have eggplant, Filipino vegetables, they work well in pasta, so those would be good.
Yeah. You know,
um
um, yeah, I think that even like our local mushrooms work well.
mhm. Yeah.
Local mushrooms work well with pasta. And you can even make your own pesto
Yeah. Oh, that
because
is
now you can,
something. That is something I have to keep stock up in my freezer. So
yeah,
I am never without frozen pesto sauce because my children love it. In fact, I grow basil. We always have to have pesto sauce because if it's not on pasta, we put it even just on toasts that you make, let's say with baguette, and then just put some cheese on top. So it's like a quick snack.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
I think pesto is so versatile, and the herbs now are so plentiful.
mhm.
Uh, Basil is so plentiful.
Yeah.
What do you use as a substitute to the pine nuts?
Actually, I don't put the pine nuts. I don't put the pine nuts. You could use the pine nuts, or you can even just omit them. I think in my cooking for two, I don't even have them there. You could use
Yeah,
some other kind of oily nut like walnuts, but it's not really to me. It's not really necessary. So
yeah.
as long as you've got the basil and the garlic and a good amount of Parmesan cheese, that's really what carries it. The pine nut just makes it more unctuous because it's oily and rich. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, and also another interesting or very easy ingredient would be your basic black olives and
mhm,
anchovy.
yeah,
You can make
Nagapapasaya.
either an oil-based sauce with that or a tomato sauce like a puttanesca,
Mhm,
right? So that's
yeah.
they're easily found in supermarkets.
Yeah. So normally, let's say if I have college age students and they're going to go abroad and study in a dorm, and so I have to teach them how to cook. I'll teach them like a basic pomodoro or tomato sauce, and then show that
Yes,
it's already nice as is. And then you could
yes,
turn it into a puttanesca by adding olives and anchovies and mushrooms. Or you could make it a seafood pasta by just adding some shrimp and squid. And if you're studying abroad, they normally sell those things already peeled, so it's quite easy. So things like that, you can even add some cream to you can even add some cream to a tomato based sauce, and it totally changes.
yeah. I,
You
I remember the first time I tried to make a tinapa pasta, I had a recipe with cream.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got it from a chef of mine from Tagaytay, and a chef friend of mine, and his recipe had cream.
Yeah.
And when I got home, I tried it, and it was of course, if you're watching your cholesterol or your fat content, it's better without the cream.
Mhm.
But I love the cream with the tinapa.
Yeah. No, for second occasions, of course, the cream is nice because that makes it really festive.
Yes. Yes. And I
But
noticed you didn't anymore put any cheese at the end. No more Parmesan cheese. No more like even
no, no, because I don't think it goes. I don't
yeah.
think I don't think it would match. And in fact, even Italians would. I think they would be mortified if you place parmesan on any pasta that had seafood in it because they feel
Yeah.
it doesn't
So
match.
friends out, yeah. I mean, that's one no actually, because I noticed that for a lot of Filipinos, a pasta dish, they'd like pour tons of that powdered Parmesan cheese all
But
the time, and
that's okay. We're in
sometimes
the Philippines, so
it destroys.
we can do what we
Yeah,
like.
of course. But I think when it comes to maintaining the right balance of ingredients for that particular recipe, we recommend that you don't anymore put any Parmesan cheese or Romano,
Yeah,
because the balance of the lemon and the tinapa
it's
and
just
garlic, that's what we're after, right? Yeah. So, I wish I'm gonna make that, and I'm gonna find a nice gold Sauvignon Blanc. I think that's gonna go with that pasta. Now, we have one more video, and it's so timely because right now we're at the height of summer, and there are a lot of beautiful fruits in season. I think that people will welcome this as a great alternative to ice cream, because the fruits are plentiful, and the thing is, you also don't want the calories of like a rich ice cream. So we have a special video showing Vicky's sorbet recipes. So did technical, you can now play our third video.
Hi, I'm Vicky Veloso-Barrera and welcome once again to Tiny Kitchen, my cooking school. Today we're going to do something which is just perfect for the summer season. Well, it's summer practically all year round in the Philippines, and it's also a trending dessert right now. We are talking about sorbets. So since we have so many nice fresh fruit in the summer, it's so nice to make this chilled dessert, which is easier than ice cream. We don't need any dairy, we don't need an ice cream maker, you just need a freezer, something to blend your fruit with, so a regular blender, a food processor, or even a small juicer like this. So we are using for today this very nice ripe cantaloupe melon. So you're just going to cut it into cubes. Now, when the fruit is perfectly ripe like this and really sweet, because you would have tasted it, you don't add anything. You don't add water, you don't add sugar, nothing. If it tastes really good, raw, eaten as is, then you add nothing to your sorbet. So you're just going to cut your fruit into cubes and puree it. And then once you've pureed it, you're gonna turn the fruit puree into a pan. It's preferably a metal pan because this conducts the cold, so it'll chill more easily. So you'll stick the puree. So I've added nothing to this. This is just pure melon, no sugar, no dairy. After about 30 minutes, it's gonna be like semi-frozen. So you're gonna get a fork and you're going to scrape down the ice crystals. Now, what this is going to do is break up your ice crystals so that you have a nice fine sorbet instead of one gigantic ice cube. So every 30 to 40 minutes, you're going to take it out of your freezer, you're going to scrape it down, and then you're going to put it back. That's all. 4 or 5 scrapes later, you have sorbet. So here's my finished melon sorbet, and you can just be creative. This is a coconut sorbet, so I used fresh buko, which is young coconut meat, with some of the coconut water and gata. I did add a little sugar to this. And then this is mango. Now these mangoes came from my mother-in-law's tree. They were very ripe. They needed nothing, no sugar, no water, just cut into cubes, just puree it, and then scrape, and that's it. Now, these frozen strawberries, I use frozen strawberries from the supermarket. So you just thaw them to the point where you can crush them, and you do have to add a little bit of sugar because the packaged frozen strawberries are a little tart. So just taste it. You don't have to add that much. Maybe for a pint of sorbet, a third cup of sugar is plenty. So just to taste. And then this one is honeydew. Now when I opened this honeydew, it wasn't so flavorful. So I did add the juice of half a lemon. Now you can use calamansi or daya, any citrus that you have on hand. And I added a little honey to make it more flavorful. And I added a few drops of green food coloring so that it would look more attractive. So this is my honeydew sorbet, and now it's very flavorful. So when you're going to serve your sorbet, take it out of the freezer for at least 20 minutes so that it won't be rock solid, and then just scoop it out. This is my son's favorite, the strawberry. Put it in a nice container and enjoy.
We'll be back shortly with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio. Technology allows us to explore a variety of opportunities. So why not grab one for you? Kickstart your online business with Big Benta. Create an account, visit our store builder, then make your online shop. Be visible, gain customers, and run your business hassle-free. Plus, enjoy the support of our local merchandising team to maximize our platform. Make technology work for you with Big Benta, Pinoy e-commerce site made for you. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local. Para enjoy ang pakikinig sa V81 Radio kahit saan. We are now on your Amazon Echo devices. Just say, Alexa, play V81 Radio at i-enjoy ang inyong mga paboritong Pinoy music 24/7. Sabihin lang, Alexa, play V81 Radio. You've got space? Be a host at BK's. Let that room, condo unit, resort, hotel, or event space bring in profit for you. Have those rented out for a short-term vacation or long-term stay. Earn while offering your space to be someone's home away from home, or an area to make new memories. Only at BK's. Log on to bks.ph now. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local. Kabayan, nahuhomesick ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Now back to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio.
Welcome everybody to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie. And Vicky, those fruit sorbets look delicious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they're really nice and light and healthy. So
yeah, and it's I think I like the variety. You've got melon, strawberry, buko, and honeydew, and mango.
Mango, yeah. I just wanted
favorite. Yeah. Those are my favorite summer fruits. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that you had buko there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, I remember in my childhood years, one of my favorites was buko sherbet from Milky Way.
Yeah. Well, my son loves coconut, and I like coconut also. So that's why I had to include that.
Yeah, and that is one of that definitely I will try to make. So you just grate the coconut, and you cook it? You said you mix it with gata, or
just because down the street there's an empty lot where they sell coconuts. You know, the young buko, diba? So they already separate the juice and then they scrape out the meat. So you're just going to put on, let's say, one buko, its meat and the juice with a can of coconut milk or cream that you just buy in the store, and then maybe a cup of sugar, and then you just blend that until the sugar is dissolved, and then the same. process.
Yeah. Is there a recipe for that without the coconut cream
You can
or
do it without the
coconut
coconut cream, and then it's like
water?
yeah. No, you just if all buko juice. It should be all
Just
buko juice because that's where the
all
flavor
buko
comes
juice
from. Yeah, but I
and then
wanted
just
I
go ahead.
wanted something white and creamy looking, which is why I added the coconut milk. Aside from the fact that I love the flavor of kata. And you can buy it
Yes.
canned or you can buy it powdered, so it's not difficult. You don't have to get it fresh from the wet market. It's convenient.
Yeah, I will definitely make that buko because I miss having a good buko sherbet.
Yes.
And when I saw you make that variant, I immediately, I was salivating and I'm definitely gonna make that buko. So it's just shredded buko with the coconut water and
Mm-hmm. And a
and a bit
little
of
bit,
sugar.
yeah, a little bit. If in fact if it doesn't have the coconut milk, then the sugar is very minimal, if at
Yeah.
all, because it
Yes.
might already be sweet. You might not even need to add anything.
Yeah. But the technique there is not to let it set. You put it in a metal container like a little like a
Like a
banana
ice cream
pan.
tray, or yes, or a loaf pan. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you have to just keep on breaking up the ice crystals so they get finer every time you scrape. So you don't have like big solid chunks of ice there. So it gets
Yes,
finer and
yes.
finer with every scraping.
Yeah, that's the interesting technique there.
Yeah.
And the thing is you
When
can
old
you
fashioned.
yeah, it's a great idea. And I know that if I know that people used to have a lot of those metal ice cube pans, but if you don't have that, you can use a banana loaf pan or a brownie pan, to
Mm-hmm.
bake your square brownies.
Yeah.
Or you can even use your leche flan
Yes, yes. Those
ovals,
plan molds.
the flan
Anything
mold.
metal. Yeah.
Yes, anything metal because
It's just that it makes it faster.
right,
Makes it
right.
fast.
Now, you tried it with melon, which is yummy, buko, mango, strawberries, and honeydew.
Mhm.
Now, if if the let's say they want to try it with something more, like lychee, will that work? Like a
Yeah,
can?
I was thinking of doing like canned lychee by itself or combining it with buko. But yeah, just the lychee because the syrup is already sweet. So I would just slice up the fruit and then do the same thing. I was considering that if I wasn't able to get hold of any melon, then that was going to be one of my options.
Yeah, because just so that there will be that the problem right now is some people may not have access to a fruit mart. I know that
Mhm.
if you go to the wet market, there's a good variety, but some people are reliant on the supermarkets, and
Mhm.
like here in my area, some of the supermarkets, the fruit selection is very limited.
Yeah.
But luckily, what they have now a lot of is watermelon.
Yes. Yeah, it works very well with watermelon too. And then
Yeah,
you would have had the red color there, but I already had my strawberries.
yes,
So
of course.
I'm going for the orange and I'm going for the orange and I'm going for the green.
Yeah.
So
And
we're
watermelon is once you blend it, it's already a lot have a lot it has a lot of liquid content,
mhm.
and you don't have to put any more sugar and
Yeah,
water.
yeah,
It freezes and it sets
yeah,
nicely, and it will be very easy to scrape up like
mhm,
in sorbet.
yeah.
Great. And
So that's
also
the
the thing,
new,
yeah, I think watermelon would go
yeah.
really well with
No,
the
and
shirt.
that will definitely if you have young people in your house like me with I have two teenage daughters and my son is 21. That's the next trending thing after this dalgona craze.
I
For the first few weeks of the lockdown, I was making like all these Milo dalgona, Oreo dalgona, strawberry dalgona. But now that we have all those surveys, at least my mixer is taking a little bit of a break. But it's making them happy, so that's good. That's
yes.
fine with me.
I know because that's the dalgona coffee craze for a while there. Every day I open my Facebook and someone's uploading a picture of a dalgona coffee they made at home. So people out there, this is a nice refreshing alternative to dalgona coffee. As Vicky said, this is trending. Fruit sorbet. Fresh tropical fruits are abundant. She used melons, um, strawberries, buko, mango, and honeydew. Now, with the honeydew, your tip there is to put a little sweetener, right?
It depends. The honeydew that I bought, when I opened it and tried it, it wasn't as sweet as my cantaloupe. That's why I added the lemon and the honey. If my cantaloupe had been not as sweet, I would have done the same there.
Yeah, it's a
So
bit of hit and miss.
yeah,
Honeydew,
if
I
it
love
lacks,
it. Yeah,
if it
but sometimes
lacks
it's not
flavor,
sweet.
yeah, if it lacks flavor, then the lemon will give it some flavor, and then the honey will give it the sweetness. So
Yeah. Now, so I know that uh, summer with nice pasta dish with a great sorbet dish, and of course the comfort that an Oreo cookie, a red velvet fried Oreo cookie brings. I'm sure it's gonna bring a lot of smiles to many homes. I know that people are going to take note of those recipes. Now, if anyone out there wants to revisit the show tonight, later on after the show, you can log on to my Facebook fan page. Let's just search for Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, and the entire episode will be put there by, give it 30 minutes. It will be up there. There will be a link, and you can revisit all those fantastic and easy to cook comfort food recipes brought to you by none other than Vicky Veloso-Barrera. And should you be interested in any of our books, we're going to run down those books very quickly now. So, Vicky, let's run them down quickly. The two tiny kitchen books are Tiny Kitchen and
yeah,
Not Too Tiny
actually,
Kitchen,
yeah,
right?
those ones are already out of print. No, what they're
Okay.
selling in National Bookstore is the edible gifts. I think some branches still have a worldwide feast and celebrations, which is our heirloom recipes of the Rosas Reyes clan. So it's like four generations of recipes here. My mother's recipes, my grandmother's, the whole clan. So it's 60 recipes that really show like Philippine culture, and also their recipes for kids, recipes from abroad, because some members of our clan have gone abroad and are chefs there. So there's this one, From the Kitchen to the Heart, which is a cookbook for children published by OMF Literature. So it has some Christian content. It's based on the fruit of the Spirit. So the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. So there's like a little story for each virtue. There's a little children's story, and then there's a recipe to illustrate it, and then you'll see my kids in it, because they're the ones who create.
Wonderful.
And then of course my books for children. So I've got my Stein of the Rabbit series. There's three about books 1, 2, and 3. And even if this is an adventure book for children, it's an allegory of the Christian faith. So very similar in concept to, let's say, like Narnia, but the story is completely different. In it, the rabbits are good and they're trying to save the world from the rats who are bad and trying to destroy the world. But I can't write a book for kids and not have, maski papano, at the end of it, recipes. So the
Yes.
food of the characters, the recipes are there at the back of each book. So these ones are carried by Big Bad Wolf. We sell them here in the school, and then you can PM me and we can send it over. So my rabbit books, and then I have other children's books that we also sell here. So National Vibal Publishing does children's books. I've got these, a book of essays that even has like the cover work done by the late Carlos Sajan. I have a lot of books. As I told you, this
Yes.
is my number one love. This is my
Yes.
number one love, and actually the cooking is even second, but a close second, and the teaching, and the fashion is
Yes.
already like number four.
No, but like, I love the idea that you found a way to weave together the your Christian themed cookbook. I think that's wonderful, and also the idea that a series like your rabbit books share Christian values, as well as at the end recipes. So
Yeah.
there's always the treat. There's a treat. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for some fantastic cookbooks and a great set of reads, why don't you check out Vicky's website, because I think the list of books are there, and flash the website now. It's tiny www.tinykitchen.com.ph. That's her official website, and you will find a lot of information about the cooking classes, the cookbooks, and you'll get to know more about Vicky Veloso-Barrera and her exciting journey into culinary arts and homemaking. And if they have any questions, do you entertain like questions about cooking, cookbooks?
They
Do
can
you
just
have
go
a
to, yeah, especially if they can go to any of my Facebook pages. I have a Facebook page for Tiny Kitchen. I also have a Facebook page for my books. So there is a Facebook page called The Sign of the Rabbit, and also Tiny Planet Books, which is my imprint for my children's books. So they can
yes,
ask questions there about the books, about the recipes. They can request recipes from me, even if they're not my students. Yeah.
yes. And I think that we've opened up a lot of avenues of interest, and to many people out there, parents who want to introduce their children to cooking, women and men who are starting their own homes, condo dwellers, young professionals that may need some tips on a startup kitchen, and starter couples that are beginning their lives together, and Vicky has a book that will give you a great idea how to plan your meals, how to budget, how to enjoy the journey based on her own experience as a young woman when she was starting out with her then young husband Roberto, who's a fantastic gentleman, and of course as she was raising her family alongside her great project, which is Tiny Kitchen.
Yeah.
Vicky, quick, I just want to like advice to those three segments of our viewers, to the parents that want to introduce their children to cooking.
Um, yeah, you can pick out simple recipes and
What
just make
age?
sure.
What age should they start?
I in my school I take 3-year-olds. I mean, I wanted to
Three.
start. Yeah, I wanted to start when I was 2 year old. So I think three is okay, and I've taught a lot of 3-year-olds. Um, yeah, you just
Even
be
earlier than nursery.
yes, yeah. My advice
Wow.
is you let them help you pick what to cook, and let them do as much as they can. Let them be the one to do whatever they can, instead of you trying to do it for them. During my classes, we don't allow the yayas and parents into the kitchen, because we want the kids to do it themselves, and they will. They will, if allowed to, and they have more fun that way. So yeah, I would encourage them to start introducing them to cooking early. Also, if they are not interested, don't force.
Yes.
Because not all kids will want to cook. Some kids will never have an interest for it. So if they are interested, well and good. And if they're not, that's it's not a problem. I mean, God has given each of us different gifts. You can see, as you even out line, you said I wove everything together, but actually I didn't. I mean, it was God who wove everything. He put me in a
Of
family,
course.
had fashion and food and teaching, and it all came together, and I'm still continuing that. I mean, he's the one who put me here, and so I feel like I'm that the place, the Bible says that the boundary lines for us fall in pleasant places, and so I think all of us have our perfect place if we're in tune with God, because He really does find the perfect thing for each of us. He gifts us with the things that will bring us fulfillment and which would make us useful to other people. So really, it's Him, and we just need to trust Him, and we don't
Yes.
need to be anxious at this time, because
Yes.
there are reasons. I know everything looks bad now, but because of this, things are going to improve. We're finding out what's wrong in the way we do things, what's wrong, with all this crowded travel, too many people on the streets, or uh, lacking infrastructure, hospitals. Those things are coming up so they can be addressed. So,
Yes.
what the Bible says, God makes all things work to the good. So,
Of
all
those
of
who
this,
love him.
yeah, so all of this is going to work out. So, we don't really have to be anxious. I might look like this, but I have the same problems as everyone else. I had no income this summer and I have obligations, but I'm trusting Him. So,
Yes. Wonderful. Now, what's your advice to the young girl or young man who is starting out on their own, condo dwellers in BGC and in Makati, who are beginning to start their lives? Any advice on how to have a great time in the kitchen?
okay, first of all, especially if you live in a condo and have very limited space, try to maximize your kitchen space by not having unnecessary equipment there. For me, if you just need the most basic things, if you don't even really need an oven, if you have like a stovetop range, and even at those toaster oven now that can already like bake cookies, they don't take up space. You don't need any fancy equipment. You need a few non-stick pans. You need a couple of saucepans for boiling water, making sauce. The equipment, you can even just stick to like wooden spoons, because wooden spoons, aside being good for like mixing batters, cake doughs, etc., are very good on non-stick pans because they won't scratch up your pans. And the less equipment you have, for me, the better, because in a kitchen, the most important commodity is counter space. You need
Yes.
space to do your work. If it's cluttered with this grinder, this thing, and that you only use like once in a blue moon, if at all, then
Yes.
it's gonna be hard. But if you can do all, if you've got a chopping board, you can do practically everything.
Yeah.
One or two mixing
True.
bowls, one or two measuring cups and measuring spoons. You don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of stuff. And then later on, you can add what you think is really necessary. But um, really, if you can just maintain as much counter space as you can, it's better. And
Yes.
I try not to be dependent on machines. I don't let my kids, my students work with like the food processor, the mixer, until they know how to do things by hand. They cannot use the
Yeah.
dough hook until they know how to knead the dough by hand. They cannot use the food processor for pie crust until they know how to do it by hand. So you're not dependent on machines. You're not dependent on having electricity. So the less clutter, the better.
Yes.
That's what I
I
would
agree. I
advise.
remember when I first studied how to cook, no machines. As in, we had to cut the paste, the butter and the flour to make
Oh, correct.
our pie crust, and then get our hands dirty to make the basic dough for the pasta. We
Yeah.
didn't even have a pasta machine. We used
You don't need
yeah, rolling
elbow
pin,
grease.
a
You know,
rolling pin, and just we kept on doing it as flat, and I put more flour and then make it flat, and it was so much fun, and that's the beauty of it. Get your hands into the food, and really prepare it from scratch. Get the freshest ingredients that you can possibly get and start on your culinary adventure in your own tiny kitchen. So, friends, Vicky truly is a gem when it comes to culinary, to starting your culinary journey with her books, with her school, and today with our chatting. I mean, it's so lovely to have you on the show, Vicky.
Oh,
And
thank
I
you so
think
much. It's so nice being here.
we've got some comments. Some people were typing in comments, so they're gonna be flashing in a while. Oh, look, Mary Grace Antonio says, "Hi, Vicky. Good to see you. Congrats, Gracie." So shout out to our dear Mary Grace Antonio. We've got Maria Nakajima. Hi, Konbanwa, watching from Japan. So,
Wow, one of my favorite places.
and then love your show, Tita Gracie, and love how Vicky talks and how she has reinvented herself from fashion to another creative industry. So that's Rachel Bonus Pestano. And oh, of course, hey Rolly, I hope that you picked up some great tips today. That's he's our vice president for marketing and programming. He's in a condo. He's alone. So all I'm saying is, Rolly, you're quarantined. So tomorrow, go and get some Oreo cookies. Make yourself some great fried Oreos and do the pasta with tinapa or tuna if you cannot find tinapa, because they're great recipes that you can whip up for yourself. And Vicky, I'd like to thank you so very much
Oh, thank you for having me. I enjoyed this.
sharing your books, your videos, and I hope to see more videos. Do you plan to post more videos like on YouTube
I,
or Facebook?
I have a YouTube channel. It's called Vicky Barrera's Tiny Kitchen. So you can look at that. And I actually had a TV show called Tiny Kitchen Cooking
Oh,
Show. It's also on
yeah.
YouTube. So you can look at that for more ideas for cook with kids.
Yes, especially now that everybody, you don't all your classes have been suspended because
Yes,
of the
we're
right.
suspended. Yeah, when it's possible, then we will resume. We will just have to do things differently. Well, we were not in the kitchen because, of course, we're not super duper crowded, but we would be having even smaller classes than before, and yeah, so we have to adjust.
Yeah. And I think trying to catch your videos will be great because everybody's doing digital uh, programming these days. And it's been a blessing to me to share what's in my heart and what's in my mind with my audience with Let's Chat with Tita Gracie. And I hope, Vicky, that we'll find another time to invite you on the show again.
Yeah, of course, anytime, anytime.
Yes, fabulous. So, friends, ladies and gentlemen, that was Vicky Veloso-Barrera, a fantastic cook, a great author, a best-selling author, and she is, like I said, everybody's favorite cooking teacher here in Manila. So, if you want your kids to study cooking, like she said, as early as 3 years old, you can already begin if they're showing some interest in cooking. You can contact her. There's her website, www.tinykitchen.com. And she also has a YouTube channel and a Facebook page. So you can please access or just search for her on the internet. She's very easily accessible. And do you have any parting message to our audience, Vicky?
To stay safe and not to worry. Yeah, not to worry and not to be anxious because God is looking out for us. You just even if everything is dark, He knows where we're going. He'll bring us to a good place. We just have to trust Him. So just keep crying out to God every time you're worried about something because He really is so good. I have been through like ups and downs in my life, and there has never been a situation where He has not come through. He's a wonderful God. So yeah.
And to to add to that fantastic message, Vicky, I would like to close the show with one of my favorite verses in the Bible. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. Friends, during this time of pandemic and ECQ, I know that a lot of you there are stressing out and are anxious. As Vicky said, don't be anxious. Instead, pray about it. And let's just thank God that we are alive and safe in our homes. And in that last verse from the book of Philippians that I shared, it's a choice to fill your mind with the beautiful things that God has given us. Whatever is giving you joy, happiness, the people you love, the blessings you receive, the bluer skies that we're all experiencing because there's less pollution, the food on our table, they're all blessings from God. So think about these beautiful things. It's a mindset. And I wish that after viewing this show, you have gained some new insights into how food can bring smiles to your face and to the faces of your families. Food brings comfort to all of us. Food nourishes our bodies. Food gives us the sustenance we live. It boosts our immunity system. And as you know, one of the ways to fight off COVID-19 is to have a nutritious and balanced diet. And we're lucky we live in a country where there is an abundance of fruits and vegetables. And we have a choice to include them in our diet every single day. It's a blessing to have someone like Vicky share her insights on comfort food. And she shared some fantastic recipes with us today. So in the coming days, be bold, try them. Go to the supermarket and try them in the next few days. And I hope that we are able to put smiles on all your faces with tonight's show. This has been Tita Gracie Venezuela bidding you farewell and see you on Sunday for another episode of Let's Chat with Tita Gracie. Thank you and have a good evening.
Leading personalities, represented insights, relevant current issues all together in a meaningful and delightful conversations as your social barometer. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Sundays, 6 p.m. Hosted by breakthrough millennial boomer Gracie Venezuela. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Only here on V81 Radio. Tunog Pinoy, Tatak Pinoy, the future of radio. This is your all hits, all Pinoy internet radio station. This is V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy.